number of people. Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting. We have the Citizens Forum for tonight, January 8th, 2019. We have one person signed up to speak. That would be Susan Anthony. Please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to address the board.
Thank you, Mayor and Alderman. I appreciate this opportunity. My name is Susan Anthony. I live at 309 Jefferson Pike here in Laverne. I am presently the new appointed office manager for H&R Block here in Laverne. I just wanted to introduce myself and let you all know and the community know how we are trying to get involved with the community this year. We have adopted, so far, I've got 2 others in the works, 5 nonprofit organizations where at the end of tax season we will be giving them money. For every new tax client that comes in the door, we give $20 to the nonprofit that sends them in. So they have an opportunity to make as much money as they want. Last year we gave Rutherford County Baseball $2,100, and that's through H&R Block. Also, we have Laverne Rescue, Laverne Lake Elementary PTO, the Fraternal Order of Police Youth League, the acronym, the Middle and East Tennessee Cops Association. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that. It's where they deal with the survivors of officers and others that have been killed in the line of duty. I am working on the Crimson Tide Football League. They're bringing in their information in the next couple of days. We'll be signing those up also. If you have any other organizations that would like to sign up, just send them by the office. I'll be more than willing to sign them up. Like I said, they get $20 for every new client that comes in the office. I just wanted to let y'all know. Also, for those of you that have Girl Scouts, February we have allowed them to be able to set up in front of our office to sell their cookies. And then in March, my office, the Antioch office, the 2 Smyrna offices on Lowry and Sam Ridley, and the office on Hickory Hollow, we will all be doing a shredded event. And I will be passing along more information when we get that all settled down and an exact date as to when we will do it. And I appreciate you allowing me to stand up here. I know my heart's beating 1,000 miles a minute. So, but I thank you for allowing me to stand up here and introduce myself.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And with that, I will close out the Citizens Forum, and we will start back up at 7 o'clock. Good evening and welcome to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting for January 8th, 2019. Call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum. I will have the pledge and Alderman No, I will have the prayer. Alderman No will have the pledge. Everyone please stand for the prayer. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, we just ask that you impart your wisdom upon us today, that we will do your will. We ask that you bless our city, that you be with our emergency responders, and that you touch everyone's heart and their minds. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You should have all received the minutes in your packet. Need a motion to approve the minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Moving on to presentations, we have the recognition of the 2018 pageant winners. Come on up, guys. Come on up, Jamie. Thank you. So this is to recognize our 2018 winners. First, we have Haley Gentry, who won the Miss Laverne pageant. Congratulations. Right there. Okay, next we have Brianna Williams. Congratulations, Brianna. Yes. Hello, dear. How are you? You look lovely. So, LaCoria Bullock for the Little Miss Laverne pageant winner. Congratulations, dear. And then we have somebody I'm all too familiar with. He's been up here a few times, Mr. Jaden Bailey. Congratulations. This is yours. Can I get a photo with you? Come here. Look right there. Good job. Here. Next we have Chandler Sheridan. Chandler, come here. Come here. Hey, how you doing? You look pretty. This is yours. Can I get a photo with you? Look right there. Good job. You can step right over there, okay? Okay, then we have Keegan Harrison for 2018 Toddler Prince.
Can you give high five?
High five. Yeah.
Oh,
Whoop,
and then
he's going down. Here, do you
you want
want that?
Yeah. Say thank you. Thank you.
And then last we have Jayona Johnson. Good job, Dad. Can we give them another round of applause for all of them?
He gonna show everybody.
Okay, next we have department reports. Chief Clark, our new fire chief. Congratulations, sir.
Well, I'd like to publicly thank you for appointing me as the new fire chief of the city of Laverne, and it's an honor to serve in this capacity, and I hope that we serve the city well. So, I've provided the November and December reports. As you can see, one of the things I want to point out, November, I think that water usage is over that because we've been flowing some hydrants. I spoke with Michael Deeks, which is with the water utilities, and we have formulated a plan to calculate when we flow hydrants for each month, and we have a way to calculate that as well. So, one of the things that I like to also point out is the number of ambulance calls that we've made in the last couple of months. To remedy that as a team effort, Mayor Cole, Alderman or Vice Mayor Matt Church, myself, have been involved in conversation with the Rutherford County Mayor and the Rutherford County Ambulance Service, and now we have started last Friday, I believe it was, an ambulance that is stationed down here for 12 hours from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And what that does is a lot of times here in Laverne, we have not necessarily a high call volume as much as we have flurries of calls. So usually if we have one, we have 5. So to decrease the response time with other ambulances coming from out of territory such as Smyrna or even Murfreesboro, hopefully that will resolve these flurries and maintain that response time to our citizens. Any questions?
It was definitely a team effort.
Yes, sir.
It was. Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, Fire Department, Chief Walker. Police Department.
Well, it used to be Chief Walker Fire Department, but that was a long time ago. That was back 74 to 77 over in Dunlap. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, if you'll take a look, you've got November's Tibers, Knobbers, crime incident or Group A offense report, and you'll notice that the overall was a decrease. Late this afternoon, I was able to look at December's, so I'll have it and I will send it out so that you can see what our end of year was. We still had a decrease, not as much as this one shows, but there are some things there you can look through and you can see some of the highlighted things where we have increases, some significant increases in some areas. Some of them we handle and some of them we can't handle because we don't know about them until they're reported to us. But we're still there with a decrease. Now, when it comes to our calls for service, next page, Glenn, we had 43,935 total calls for service in 2018. And that's an increase of about 3.5% over the 42,431 that we had total calls for service in 2017. So people still call us and still ask us to come, and we still go. And the next one. December was a wild month for us. So was November because of Thanksgiving and boxes and so on, but this is specifically 2018, our Christmas for kids and seniors. Now, one weekend in the middle of the month, fire and police went together and we assisted Rock Springs Middle School and Smyrna West in delivering things their staff were doing with families that lived in Laverne. And we spent the better part of the daylight hours with them delivering, and it was raining and it was pretty rough, but we were able to find some additional folks who needed some help as a result, especially children, where the school staff was not aware of additional younger siblings or maybe even some older siblings or even special needs siblings. So we picked up some more. But Miss Tony sat down and worked very hard. It took her the better part of a day and a half to pull this together, but we actually had 73 separate families that we were able to assist this year. And within those families, with the food, we were able to help feed additionally about 318 people that we're aware of. There were 146 children from these families that received toys and clothing for Christmas. There were 76 seniors who we asked to do a wish list for us, and seniors don't ask for what they want, they normally ask for what they need. So we were able to supply those needs too, in a way, for scarves or house shoes or a house coat or pajamas or a gown, things that were warm that they asked for, and little things they like too, even sugar-free candy that they can't normally get themselves. And then a special thanks goes out to a big group of folks, and Tony told me to be sure and apologize if someone's name or a company name or a group's name was not listed. It was totally unintentional. She assures you of that, but you can see the list of folks who were there who helped. And then we have some folks that are here that helped tremendously, and that's Doug and Garland and some of the group over there at Streets who helped go pick up and bring and deliver, and when we boxed, helping get that to us. And then our LPD, FOP, No Shave November, and Double Down December. If you look at that, there were 38 of us who participated. I spent the better part of about an hour and a half trying to get the stuff off my face without cutting my old thin skin. But we were able to bring in $2,710 for our Christmas for kids and seniors just from that event alone. And then we also had some of our folks. We do more than just write tickets and put people in jail and answer calls. We try to help in our community, and it's a year-round event. People don't realize that. There are young officers who'll come in, or they'll call and say, if we got any food, I've got a family that I've found here, this, that, and the other. And that happens a lot of times, and that's why we're here. We're part of the community, and we love our community. And we're doing what the good Lord told us to do. Love others and take care of others. Is that the last one or the first picture?
That's the first.
That's the first picture. If you'll look there, you'll see we have bookends there. They're kind of like Mutt and Jeff. You got one real tall and one kind of short. But if you'll look at the faces, you'll notice that 75% of that group in that picture participated. Officer Justin Darby, second from the left, K-9 officer, Jacques' partner, was recognized by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office at their annual luncheon, looking beyond the license plate award, which means he did more than just stop someone because of a license plate issue and looked beyond it, and wound up being, he wound up injured as a result of it. The guy tried to take off and drug him, struck another car, and then took off on foot, and Darby got to him and tackled him and fought him and roused him on the ground until he had some help there. The guy had a pistol in his waistband, was doing everything he could to get it. And that's why, because there was a large amount of drugs in the vehicle itself, and that's why the guy took off. And then the next picture is a young man by the name of Larry Holliday with Lieutenant Brent Hatcher. And Larry was recognized at a annual dinner that Mothers Against Drunk Driving, MAD, host, and they recognized him for his concerted efforts in trying to locate and remove drinking or drug drivers from our roadways. And we're proud of both those young men. Any questions?
Good job to your men
Thank you.
and your
Chief.
women.
And women.
And
I don't have a question, but I do have comments. In the almost 2 months that I've been in office, I've seen a lot of comments in social media about the police department. And I just want to say publicly and commend you. The last several weeks, I have seen more ticket writing, patrolling, putting up the speed things. I don't know where that came from.
That came from our highway safety grant. We were
Okay.
able to buy those, and we finally got them.
A lot of people ask, and I didn't know where they came from. I hope they help. One person will say, "That's a good job, Chief." The other person will say, "Where'd the money come from?" So you're in a no-win situation. But from what I've seen, I think when the police department does bad, everybody's going to talk about it, including me. But you're a hard man to run down. But in this instance, you done good, you and your department. I think you guys are doing a good job. So let's keep it up.
You got my number. All you got to do is call.
And you, coming from a bald-headed guy, Chief, you look so much better.
Chief, on that $2,710 is what was raised. I think we ought to give the Laverne Police Department a hand.
Next, we have codes. Randolph?
Evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman. You have in your packet the monthly report for December. For December, we issued 2 single-family dwelling permits and 4 commercial permits. There were 3 signed permits issued, 2 other permits to include additions and remodels, for a total number of 11 permits for the month. In the plumbing, there were 2 single-family and 2 commercial. Mechanical, also 2 single-family and 2 commercial. The complaints for the month were 3 for tall grass, junk cars in the yard. There were 37. Others, there were 54 to include open storage of debris. Building inspections were 432 for the month. Impact fees, monthly revenue with impact fees was $10,318.16. Total number of single-family permits issued year-to-date were 254. Same time period last year was 257, for a total number this year for 549. Also, I want to touch on the year-end report. For the year 2018, there were 254 single-family dwelling permits issued at a sum value of $46,651,000. Commercial, there were 76 permits issued at a sum total of $55,191,000. 102 miscellaneous permits, sum total of $62,000. Others to include additions and remodels, there were 51 at a sum total of $1,104,000. There were 8 mobile homes at $253,000. Total number of permits were 549 for a valuation of $103,261,000. Our monthly revenue, total monthly revenue, I'll get to that at the bottom. Plumbing permits, there were 263 single family, 52 commercial, 262 single family dwelling permits for mechanical, and 57 for commercial. For the year, there were 1,185 tall grass complaints, 466 junk cars in the yard, 598 others. Building inspections, 5,901 on the year, which is pretty substantial. Then at the bottom, the impact fees. The monthly revenue with impact fees for the year was $1,418,729.09. Again, the year-to-date total, same, $1,418,000. Total number of single-family permits, 254, 257 last year, for a sum total of 549 on the year. Any questions?
Thank you, Randolph.
Thank you.
Parks and Recreation, AC.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman. These are our numbers for the month. It's been really busy for us, even though we're not mowing grass and doing ball fields right now. Doesn't mean things slow down with all the events and stuff we do. Some of the upcoming events that we have that we're looking forward to are January 21st, we got Martin Luther King Jr. ceremony at 10 a.m. here in the City Hall Boardroom. And one that's getting bigger every year is the Daddy-Daughter Dance, February 2nd at Roy Waldron School. That'll be from 2 to 4. If you get your tickets early, they go on sale on the 22nd, they'll be $3, but if you come to the door, it's $5 per couple or per 3. You know, we're not real strict on that, and it's open to mothers and sons as well. Everybody's welcome. So that event's getting bigger and bigger. Last year the gym was full. If any of y'all showed up for that, it was a big deal. So we really want to thank Roy Waldron for letting us do that over there. Past events, of course, we had the Parade of Lights, and I did want to thank the Interact Club again for their help with hot chocolate and cookies at the seniors tent. They were a lot of help. I appreciate them very much. And from what I understand, we're going to get to use them a lot here in the near future as well for a lot of events. The senior Christmas dinner was a big deal, as always. Melissa and Linda killed it with the food. Thank all the volunteers that came and helped serve at that and helped us get things back in order that evening, because as soon as we got done there, that evening the Interact Club had a ceremony in there as well. So we had to hustle to get it back in shape. We have upcoming meetings. Will be a Greenway Advisory at 7 o'clock on January 28th, and right before that will be a Parks Advisory at 6. And then a Senior Advisory at 7 on the 17th at 4. Wanted to thank everybody that brought donations to the Senior Center for Christmas and all the time that they bring donations. One in particular, Tony Vanetta has a client named Kim DeMoss. Am I saying that right, Tony? DeMoss, who donates a lot of stuff, food items every year around Christmas time and throughout the year. So wanted to say a special thanks to her. So any questions?
Can you, AC, can you refresh everyone's memory that maybe wasn't watching the workshop the other night, what's going on with the building that went before TEMA and FEMA
Right.
and what the
Yeah, last year
status
we had
is?
put in, Monteque and I had worked on a grant through TEMA, which went through FEMA. It got we turned it into TEMA, and it's taken a long time. It's a long process. We were supposed to know something by Thanksgiving, but the hurricane that hit South Carolina and the one that hit Florida has pushed everything back. Everybody's down there working on that. So they said that the application looked really good. The previous board signed a letter of intent to follow through if we were given the grant. And now it's just a waiting game. It could be any day. She said the next time my phone rings, it should be them with an answer, though. So
I know I spoke to the young lady in Grants, and she said she's calling every day.
yeah.
Also, can you tell us about one of our Senior Citizens Advisory Committee member, what he did today?
Yeah, I had heard, what's his name again, Mr.
Rick
No?
Autry.
Rick Autry, yeah, he had gone. He's one of our newer members too. He's been on the board for a few months now, but apparently he went to Lowe's and had a chat with them, and it was a good chat because they were willing to donate a building, one of the outbuildings, to the senior center, so we can bring it over there and set it up for storage. I don't know how big it is, and I don't know what we have to do to go get it, but I suggest we go get it quick because we want to make sure that, and that's a really big deal right there to be able to go over there and talk Lowe's into that. And Lowe's has always been helpful to us. They gave us a grill last year and some tables and umbrellas and things like that. But a building is really what we need for storage. So
Rick, he called me yesterday and told me that, I said, what are you going to do tomorrow? Because I wanted him to help me do something. And he said, nope. He said, I'm going to be putting my bumming clothes on. I said, what do you mean? He said, I'm going to Lowe's. I'm going bumming for the seniors, and today he called me. So,
well, he's successful. He can save them clothes because they worked.
yeah,
So
so it's good stuff.
yeah. Any other questions?
On the, I guess the full-time positions, we're still working on
Correct.
that?
Yep, I'm waiting for, I don't know, Cheryl, an offer or to find out if they're going to accept or where we're at on that.
For the
So,
director position?
yep, it's a coordinator position.
Coordinator?
Yeah, correct.
And how long have we been waiting?
We finished interviews up last Thursday, or the Thursday before we went to on Christmas break.
Thursday before
Yeah.
Christmas?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, AC. Finance, Phyllis?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman. Tonight's financial report is for the first 5 months of our fiscal year, which ended in November. For the general fund, expenses have exceeded revenues by approximately $1.6 million. We'll start seeing some property tax revenues coming in December and January, so that number should reverse itself, hopefully. Local sales tax, we've collected approximately $3.5 million, with $831,000 better than what we budgeted for this time of the year, and $279,000 better than prior year. For the state street aid, revenues have exceeded expenditures by approximately $250,000. And for the stormwater, revenues have exceeded expenditures by approximately $124,000. And in the water sewer fund, revenues have exceeded expenditures by approximately 1.2, right at 1.3 million. The second page is the balances in our various bank accounts. And the third page is a comparison to prior year. For the general fund, revenues are up right at $1 million. Expenses are down about $79,000. In the water sewer fund, revenues are up about $107,000, and expenses are also up about $496,000. Tap fees, as compared to prior year, are up $352,000. Thank you.
I have a question. I'm just reviewing this. And this is our end of the year report. Is that what this is?
No, this is November.
Oh, it's November. Okay. Can you explain to me on what database we are keeping up with their flex time?
I don't think this is appropriate time to discuss that. It's not on the agenda. Thank you.
Moving on to library. Donna?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor Aldermen. This is for the month of December. We had attendance of 3,859, and if you will notice, we were open 18 days in December. We had the holidays, and then we also took the last week of December to do some maintenance inside the library. We cleaned out the fans and the computers and did all sorts of great organizing, so ready to start the new year. So with that attendance, we averaged 214. We issued 49 new library cards. We circulated 3,058 items, and we had 1,342 computer users. Down at our programs, you will notice that we have children, teen, adult, and also outreach. The outreach is where we go into the daycares and read to the children and take books for them, which has really turned out well. So our total programs for all three categories were 30, with a total attendance of 650. We're going to be having our library board meeting on Monday here in the boardroom at 5 o'clock. And of course, anyone is invited to come and sit in with us. We're going to be happy to have Alderman Jones come as our chair this year. Looking forward to that. I wanted to just talk just a second about the space that we provide at the library. So many people, when they think about library, of course, you think about books, checking out books. You think about computers. You think about us going, shh, be quiet. Well, if you've been in our library, we're not really quiet. We try to keep it down so people can study, but we have a lot going on, and I just wanted to run through this, who we provide space for, and this is just a very fraction of the people. Homeschool groups, Girl and Boy Scout leaders, tax preparation, which I'll talk about in a second. We have a bilingual navigator from Tennessee, Get Covered Tennessee, that comes in every Wednesday to help people sign up for insurance. In the summer, Mid-Cumberland Dental actually brings their dental chair and goes into our teen room, and children can get sealant on their teeth for free. Medicare open enrollment assistance, St. Thomas Health Fair, the mobile health unit, job fairs, job interviews, Rutherford County Adult Education, and ESOL, English students of other languages. I'll get out in a second. We have 2 Laverne and Smyrna high school groups that come in to meet. We have community neighborhood meetings, HOA meetings, FOP meetings. We have dispatch testing. We have jazzercise, adult painting, test proctoring for online education, and of course, many, many more things. So it's a very hopping place there. I want to talk about VITA just a little bit. This is Volunteer Income Tax Assistant. This will be our 2nd year in a row to do this. It is scheduled to begin February the 1st and go through April the 13th. It will be every Friday and Saturday during those times, during those dates, and the times are going to be decided. Last year it was from 9 to 4, so we'll let you know just as soon as we can. You do not pay for this service. There's a little bit of a criteria, an income amount, which is pretty high, and they do not do any of the major schedules, but they do a great job, and we really appreciate them. They're through United Way. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Moving on, water treatment plant.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Alderman, hope you all had a nice holiday season. Like everyone else, I know you're probably rushed. Sharing time with your families is really important, and we in Infomark and in the business we're in, not sure if you guys know this or not, but in our industry, over 30% of our employees work through the holidays. And when I was an operator back in the 90s, I can remember getting up and telling my children, you know, Santa Claus has delayed the presents, you know, because he knows Daddy's got to go to work or, you know, whatever. So this time of year, and I know we're past all that now, but it's, you know, I can't help but think about it when I come back to Laverne and talk with the folks and see that they've worked through the holidays and really put forth a good effort, not only for Infomark, but for the citizens of Laverne. So just want to get that out there. It's something that's really close to my heart, and just had to get it out there. So I'm going to touch on a few things from November and December for you all. We'll talk about water production first. November, Infomark treated 111.086 million gallons of water. We delivered 93.7 million gallons to the citizens. That's an average of 3.703 million gallons treated per day, and 3.123 million gallons delivered per day. In December, we treated slightly less than that at 110.859 million gallons for the month. Delivered 98.340 million gallons to the citizens of Laverne. 3.576 million gallon average treated. 3.172 million gallons delivered per day. That's averages per day. I want to talk about complaints. In November, we received 2 complaints for discoloration. Both issues had cleared within the 30-minute time frame from notification until we arrived on site. We flushed the hydrants in the area anyway, just to make sure that the issue didn't arise again. In December, we received a total of 7 homeowner complaints. 6 complaints were discoloration, and 1 was due to line break. 1 was a pressure complaint, and the other were discoloration, or 5 from discoloration caused by exercising the fire hydrants that the fire chief spoke about. This is something that's really healthy for the system. When they're out testing the fire hydrants, it makes them reliable because they don't have time to work on a fire hydrant when they need the water. So it's a very good, proactive program. Cross-connection inspections continued in December. There are currently 513 inspections completed out of 851, and we expect these inspections to be completed by the end of the month. A draft unidirectional flushing program has been developed by Infomark. This is significant. This unidirectional flushing program takes the water from the storage tanks and moves it out across the system, and you do that by using the water mains. So it's involved. It's a really involved program. It takes a lot of planning. We're currently working with Bruce and Kyle and Michael Dietz to get this finalized, and we expect to start this flushing program early spring. Very, very good. Another healthy program for the water system. Got a couple new employees, want to talk about them quickly. In November, we hired a new maintenance tech for the plant. Really impressed with this gentleman. He is central to our plans for tackling more of the corrective work at the plant. So our model is that we use in-house maintenance versus general contractors. City buys the parts pieces, we do the labor that you're already paying for inside the plant, saves you money. Over the course of the contract, could be significant. Could be significant. In December, we had our last, no, I'm sorry, we decided to make some changes there, so we had another operator start. This gentleman is from California, sharp as a tack. He's already passed 3 weeks through the training program, and he's doing a really good job, and we're glad to have him. He's actually got a grade 4 in Arizona too, so that's good.
And is that Dwayne or Steve?
This gentleman's name is, I didn't get to meet him this time. Daniel Campbell.
Daniel.
Yeah, yeah. So we're currently looking for a utility tech. That's our last position. And this person will be exactly that, a utility person that basically will touch all aspects of the operation and maintenance at the plant. So we feel like that'll be filled pretty quickly. And it'll be good because that'll decrease the overtime that we're working now, so, yeah. Any questions?
I know we're heading in the right direction.
Yes, sir, we're trying really hard.
You guys have been putting it in there.
Yep.
And, cleanliness of the plants like night and day.
Yep.
So, thank you for hanging in there with us.
Oh,
I know it was a little bumpy there for a little while, but
that's fine.
it's gonna, at the end of this road, it's gonna be good for the citizens.
That's right, that's right. We own it.
So,
We own that plant. In our minds, you know, the city actually owns the assets, but in our minds, we own that plant and we own the water that leaves it. And it's our reputation. It's Mr. Greg Purcell's reputation, Mr. Brad Sullivan's reputation, and Mr. Steve House's reputation, along with mine. And we take it very seriously.
and we've had some one-on-ones, and definitely the mood has changed, and I think the citizens will benefit from that.
Yep, good.
With these guys. So, hang in there, guys. We still got a lot of work, but
Yeah.
we're gonna
Yeah, they're not satisfied.
we're gonna keep pushing.
Yeah, they're nowhere near being satisfied.
Has the raw water pump number 2 been reinstalled?
It is due to be installed this month. Yeah.
And I see on here the valve number 5 is identified as failing and is currently under investigation. And you that's controlled, right?
Yes, it's controlled. Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Any failures that we have, we immediately put in controls for the processes to make sure that we understand it, number one, and number two, that we've got a plan to correct it. So yeah, it's good. We were talking about that raw pump this morning, and I think it was delayed a little. But the plan is, was it next week it's going in?
Yes, that's the plan.
Okay.
They wanted to clean it before they put a new build pump in.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's right, they're cleaning the wet well. Yeah, they're gonna clean the wet well before they put the brand-new pump in, which is really good.
That's right.
Yeah, so,
Thank you.
yeah. Any more questions?
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Moving on, Public Works. Garland?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Alderman. I've combined the report for the month of November and December. We had a total of 700 and something brush pickups in November and in December with the holidays and the weather, and then the truck was down for about a week or so. Just getting it back going. Went from 120,000 pounds down to 30,000. At 400, in November, had 458 workhouse program hours with 472 in the month of December. We had kind of a warm December. We got a lot of things done. With 109 work orders in November and 108 in December. In the fleet department, November we had 47 vehicle repairs with and 38 in December, with 40 in-house and 36 in the month of December. Outsourced was 7 in November, with 2 in December. And you see the preventive maintenance, equipment repair, and then in the month of November, we had 5 calls that we worked on the fire apparatus in some form or fashion, whether it be oil changes, you know, just minor things sometimes we're doing. And had 2 in the month of December.
And that saves us significant money and time as well with
Yes,
being able
it
to have
does.
that in-house versus having
Yeah,
to send
we've-
it off.
Chief Clark and I have looked over some of the invoices that, I mean, our labor rates are probably a little cheaper than going to White Bluff with it, but we're gonna work through it. I mean, I think we've got some classes that's gonna be set up for working on fire apparatus. A guy out of Goodlettsville's doing it. They're gonna have 3 classes. It's gonna be Murfreesboro, 2 other cities around
Good.
that will pay for the one or maybe both of them to go to. We'll try to, we're hoping in a couple of years they'll be able to do just about anything, if everything works out fine.
Any questions?
No questions, but other comments, and I have to apologize to Randolph. I skipped over him. I was busy trying to figure out this computer, but goes with the same as I told Mike. You guys, I know you get my emails, you get my complaints, because I get complaints, and you guys have done a lot of replying back, done a lot of fixing, a lot of patching. I know we're waiting on warm weather. There again, you do bad, you hear about it, but I think it's also important that you get the pat on the back, so I know you guys are trying. I got an email from Randolph today, and he's working on something for me, so the people of Laverne feel comfortable in knowing that they've got some voices now that they can work through and get their voices heard. So I appreciate it.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Garland. Utility Department, Michael?
Yes, sir. Mayor, Alderman, good afternoon. Much like Mr. Garland, we combined both November and December for your report. For the Water Department, our total number of work orders were 85 to 107. We had 3 mainline repairs in both November and December. Our service lines was 6 to 3. Valves exercised was 235 to 162. Our estimated gallons of water not sold was 181,540 for the month of November to 157,760 in December. The overtime was 15.5 to 31. The meter department, we had a total of 265 to 297 on the work orders. Our new meter sets was 11 to 10. Meter swaps was 13 for the month of November to 162 in December. Miles of pipe that we walk and listen to was 5.6 to 561. Meters listened to was 300 to 512. We found 4 leaks in the month of November to 7 in December. The customer request for their meters to be tested was 3 to 5. We tested 3 in November, 1 in December. Tennessee 1 calls answered was 314 to 293. The overtime was 11.5 to 13. On down to the sewer department, we had a total of 138 work orders to 136. Service calls was 58 to 76. The pump station work orders were 80 to 60. Our final grinder pump inspections was 2 to 14. Manhole inspections and repairs was 25 to 38. Our grinder pump rebuilds was 6 for the month of November and 5 for December. The overtime for the month of November was 37 to 55.5 in December. I'd also want to recognize a couple of the guys in the utilities department, one of which is in the water side, the other's in the collection or sewer. They both received their Distribution 2 certification, so we had 2 licensed operators. So we're really excited about that. Any questions?
That's good news.
Do we get a name or just guys?
Oh, I'm sorry, apologize. Mr. Micah Binkley and Clint Spears.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Are we doing a good job retaining them now that they have their
Absolutely.
license?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We've had a couple that's moved on within the city. Mr. Phillip, he has both his certifications, distribution and collections. He's now a mechanic. Jeremy Buskus also has both, and he's now the inspector for the utilities.
That's great. Promoted on within and
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, sir.
Moving on, Stormwater Department, Adam?
Mayor, Board, during the month of, not month, from November 15th to December 15th, we received 16 complaint calls. This generated 2 new work orders. We have 7 work orders during that time frame that were in progress. Of course, that's changed from here to now, but we do it from 15th to 15th on our reporting. We closed 3 work orders. Street sweeper ran 3 days. The number's a little bit low because some of the seals went out on the street sweeper, and since it operates on vacuum, no seal, no suck. Working days was 16. There were rain days, 2 days rained out completely. Office closed for 1 day for the Thanksgiving holiday. Major projects that were completed in this time. The ditch line for 311 Blakemore, which is actually 5 separate homes, has been completed. That being said, the grading around those homes has not been completed. The weather was just too wet, and we can't put machinery on a wet yard because we'll just tear it apart. We have dressed the yards to the best of our ability, but until we hit some dry weather, I'm not going to put any machinery back there because we'll do more damage than good. 111 Lyndhurst, we repaired a buckled curve, replaced probably about a 10-foot section there. At 194 Elm Street, laid fabric down at riprap to a culvert that had some severe erosion at one of the corners. Maintenance work, we installed road pads on the backhoe, hauled debris for several days, and a street sweeper was out for maintenance for 2 weeks. Any questions?
For the 2 major projects, the Blakemore and the Elm Street.
Yes, sir.
Were both of those residents notified so that they know that the city's going to come back and do that additional work?
The residents at Blakemore received letters, and also my project engineer knocked on doors, visited with several people. They should all have been informed at Blakemore, especially on the work that we intend to, return and finish. At Elm Street, the gentleman was just happy that we had fixed the erosion, but we're not satisfied with the work, so it is functionally complete, but not complete to our satisfaction.
And the folks in Blakemore, the engineer did go out and speak to them?
She did.
They're calling and they have some legitimate complaints. I mean, you're aware of it. Mm-hmm. So we just want to follow through and make sure that, we get an end to this, to the mess out there. And can you explain to me what the rain days, what is exactly is a rain day? Two rain days?
Typically, any day that you have more than about 1/10 of an inch of precipitation, I can't put equipment on the ground. And it's been so wet in December, we basically couldn't do we couldn't get off the road really for the work we were doing. So a lot of their time was spent doing maintenance tasks such as cleaning inlets out, jetting culverts, that type of thing. Our actual dirt work really doesn't begin in earnest until about May or September. It's an exceptionally wet year, as probably everyone's noticed at this point. I think we're 35% or so above the annual average for 2018. So I don't want to say I'm praying for a drought, but if it rains a little bit less this year, I'd be a lot happier.
The complaints or the concerns, I would say, that come in is during rain activities. Mm-hmm. So would that be possible the next time it rains, and it's coming down a storm, maybe you and I or other board members ride the city? The workshop brought up some subjects when we were discussing the flood zones. Mm-hmm. When you made that statement of the flood zones, which I agree with some of what you were saying. However, now we're having a lot of people doing exactly what you're saying to do. They went to their deeds, and now we have people saying, we're not in a flood zone, and I'm getting flooded. So we've kind of opened up a can, and if we can, with your expertise, when it is raining, when the people are calling, I promise you, when you're standing there and we're looking in their garage and there's water, there has to be something we can do.
Well, I'll give a qualified answer to that. If it's in the right-of-way or easement, absolutely, I'll do anything I can do. A lot of times, homeowners are their own worst enemies. They build fences in the easements. There are depressions nearby. Several cases, the road is elevated in relation to their house. That's a common problem we see in Laverne. And of course, when I talk about flooding, my definition of flooding, the engineering definition of flooding, is damage to the home, the actual property of the home. If your shed in your backyard gets water in it, it's unfortunate, it's unpleasant, it's not good by any means. But are you actually being flooded? Did you know that water would get into it? Most people, when I talk to them about these types of issues regarding sheds, their garages, they'll usually say something along the lines of, well, it's done it for years, but now we want to tell you about it, which I understand. And in cases where we can help, we do.
I guess the goal is, if there's water in their garage, that would be damage to their home. So we just need to find a solution. If we can't, as a city, find the solution, at least maybe we can help find the problem. You know, if there's contractors involved, or, you know, at least we can be a liaison from the homeowner to the city and try to adapt, because there's people that lived here for 20 years and they're you know, they did what you asked, they looked at their deed, and they're not in a flood zone, and they now have, you know, water in their garage. So they have a legitimate complaint. I've seen it with my own eyes, and it's not just one home, it's several homes. With your help, I mean, you're the expert. If you can just help us find
The same as I said at the workshop, if they contact my stormwater engineer, they leave their name, they leave their number, they will get called back, they will get a visit. It is guaranteed.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, I got a question. I'm sorry. You seem to be the popular guy tonight, Adam, so.
I try.
First of all, thanks so much for showing me about the flood thing.
You're very welcome,
I'm
sir.
able now to access it on my computer, and I've talked to about 5 people this week that I was able to help. Now, this is my question, and I'm not wanting to put you on the spot, and maybe we can answer it, you know, tomorrow here. And the people have acknowledged that they are in fact in a flood zone.
Yes, sir.
And they've learned a lot. I've learned, they've learned. The question that they're asking me is once that water has built up in the flood zone because of like a beaver dam or something, and it recedes, and there's all kinds of trash there, are they responsible to get that?
By city ordinance, and this is more Randolph's area, but easements are the maintenance responsibility of the homeowner, just the same way their driveway is. If there's debris that is definitely too large for a homeowner, you know, we will come out and take care of it. But as far as if there's sticks and leaves and stuff, it's just not financially responsible from the city's point of view to send 5 guys out there to pick up sticks and mud from somebody's backyard.
I think what she was talking about, or in this case, him, what he was talking about was one of the flood zones, even though he knew his house now is in a flood zone, but it wouldn't have been that bad had it not been for a
Beaver dam or something along the line.
You know, I don't know if that's the right terminology, but that's all I got.
Yeah, we do have beavers. They've come in on Hurricane Creek several times. They, you know, they're God's little dam builders. So we, if I learn about one, we have to contact animal control, have them trapped, and my guys will go out and bust the dam. But, you know, unless somebody tells us about it, I don't have somebody that's out walking every creek. So I rely on homeowners to let me know there's a problem.
Okay.
Thank you, Adam.
Yes, sir.
Human Resources, Cheryl?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Aldermen. Here is the report for Human Resources for November and December. We had 4 external jobs posted in November and 4 in December. 86 applicants in the month of November, 232 in the month of December. There was actually 1 new hire in November, 5 in December. 1 employee was promoted in December. In November, we had 3 resignations, 0 terminations. We had 1 resignation in December, 1 termination in December. Workers' compensation claims, 5 in the month of November, 4 in December. Liability claims, 2 in November, 1 in December. Care Here appointments, there were a total of 67 in November and 61 in December. 2 no-call, no-show appointments in November, 0 in December. 399 Care Here enrollees in the month of November. December, we had 400. There were 2 HRAs conducted in November with 4 in December. Short-term disability claims, 2 in November, 1 in December. Total claim dollars for the month of November, $233,193, and in December, $282,825. And that concludes the HR report. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl. Moving on to old business, second reading ordinance number 2018-27.
I have a question about the reports. Is it okay to ask?
Oh, at this point, we moved on. Maybe you get with Cheryl afterwards.
Oh, it's not
about
Cheryl. It's
The
not with
HR. Okay, if it's about an individual one, I just.
No,
didn't need to-
I'm concerned about, we have November and December on all the reports except for finance. Is there a reason why we only have November's?
Yes, there is. The finance report is cumulative. It's not monthly.
Thank you.
So again, second reading ordinance 2018-27, an ordinance to amend Title I, Chapter 1, Section 1-101 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the time and place of regular meetings. Need a motion to approve or deny.
I'll make a,
Deny.
Have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Alderman No.
Is this in your hands completely? Is that what we're doing here?
This is to change the time of the.
Change the time?
Yes.
No,
And what did we?
No.
No, okay, that's what,
this is to remove the ability of the mayor to
Cancel meeting.
cancel meetings.
Alderman No. On a motion to deny.
no.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
no.
And I vote no. Motion fails. So a new motion can be made.
I'll make a motion that we accept the changes.
And our second? Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Jones.
No.
Alderman Brown.
No.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Second reading ordinance 2018-28, an ordinance to amend Title 20, Chapter 2 of the Laverne Municipal Code by striking and repealing Section 20-209 entitled Park Activities Near Right-of-Ways, Access Roads, etc. in its entirety. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion we approve.
Have a motion to approve. Need a second.
I second.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Consent agenda. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I second.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Consent agenda passes. Moving on to new business. We've got first reading ordinance 2019-1, an ordinance to amend Title 1, Chapter 1, Section 1-103 of the Laverne Municipal Code regarding the Citizens Forum. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Can we discuss this now, or we got to get a motion?
We have to have a motion and a second to discuss.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, we have a second. Discussion.
So you're wanting to move the forum up for the meetings?
This would move for the workshops
I mean, for-
specifically.
yeah,
It would
the
move them
workshop.
back so that more people can, the idea behind it is so that more people are able to make it versus it being at 5:30.
So we're gonna move the workshop to 7, just like this.
It would start right after the citizens forum.
Okay.
No, what this does is it changes the time for the public hearings from 5:30 to 6:30.
Okay.
And the citizens forum is for the workshop, is part of the workshop.
Okay.
And then we usually start right after the citizens forum to the meeting.
That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure.
Okay. Any more discussion? Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. First reading. First reading ordinance 2019-02, an ordinance to amend the Laverne zoning ordinance as it pertains to accessory structures. This received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on December 27th, 2018. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to deny.
Have a motion to deny. Do we have a second?
Second for discussion.
Okay. Seconded for discussion.
What's the change on that, Bruce?
This one changes the maximum amount of, maximum size, rather, for accessory structures, depending on the size of the property. I believe now the maximum is 1,500 square feet for every residential property. This would allow for residential use parcels that are 2 acres or larger. To exceed that 1,500 square feet limit, they can go up to a maximum of 2,500 square feet.
Do we have a count on do we have a number on the citizens' involvement that called in?
I do not know of any. Bo, do you have any, has anybody commented on this ordinance?
No, sir. No phone calls.
And this is first reading. If it is approved tonight, we will have a public hearing prior to the next meeting specifically on this ordinance. So it'll be advertised and we'll have a public hearing where people can voice their opinions on this ordinance.
I know that we talked about this at the workshop. What's the pros and cons of this?
I'd have to defer to Bo on that question.
Can you help us out here, Bo?
Yes, sir. Basically, when you're talking about pros and cons, so each community that I've looked at in writing these changes to the zoning ordinance, every community just sort of does it the way they want to do it, so there's not a standard. When I started researching, I didn't find a standard way that it's done.
Is this consistent with our surrounding cities?
Well, when I started researching, I was hoping to see if it was consistent, but they're so, none are written the same.
Okay.
And I can email those to all of you all if you'd like to see them.
We kind of went over that in the planning commission.
Yeah, it's not, none of them are written the same. So some cities use a percentage of the backyard can be covered, and you can't exceed a certain percentage of the backyard. Some cities don't ever mention that. They just mention the size of the structure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no streamlined way for any municipality in the surrounding areas.
Yeah. So I guess in this case, you're talking about a 2-acre lot, so of course it depends on how much that 2 acres is in the rear yard, because all accessory structures have to go in the rear yard.
How does that benefit our city?
I couldn't say honestly right now that there's a benefit one way or the other. It's just, I guess what I can say is any lot that's 2 acres or greater will be allowed a larger structure. So, because the 2 acres is the threshold.
As a I mean, I'm no longer a member of the planning commission, and some of the members of this board were not privy to that information that you sent out. If Alderman Brown is willing to withdraw her denial, I would like to defer this until we all can get that information that the planning commission had, if she's willing to withdraw.
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Okay.
That being said, I would like to make a motion that we defer this until all members get the information that the planning commission received.
I'll second that.
I second, or I'm sorry.
I third it.
Well, let's just vote on it.
Sorry.
Alderman No.
Yes to defer.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I vote aye. The motion is deferred. Moving on, number 9, motion to approve an engagement letter with Butler Snow LLP for Human Resources Consulting Services. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Need a second. And we have a second.
I'd like to discuss this.
Okay.
So who wants to start?
That would be you. You want to
Okay.
discuss this?
Well, I want to just make sure we explain to the citizens that we are engaging in legal counsel to assist us in developing a policy to I guess to correct some activity that's been going on in the city. That's what this is for.
This is for reviewing all of our HR policies to make sure that they're in compliance with state laws. It's not any one policy, so this encompasses all of them.
Okay. Evan, does this contain anything with the flex time?
Yes, Mr. Vice Mayor, it would include, as the mayor noticed, and you look at the first paragraph of the engagement letter, it states, I think the third line down, that the law firm's being engaged to review and draft employment policy. So that would be, as the mayor noted, as broad in scope as anything that needed to be addressed. And obviously, whatever policies are created that need to be a part of the employee manual will then come back before you for you to consider and act upon or not.
And this was brought to our attention when I acknowledged and asked for your assistance to help us with the flex time.
The flex time issue was, yes, sir.
On your recommendation.
Yes, sir, that's right.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is this something that's, is this something that goes on normally with cities or boards, or is this the first time that the Laverne has done this, or?
No, sir, it's not the first time Laverne's done it. I can't speak to other boards, but I can tell you that the area of employment law, especially with respect to employment policy, is constantly evolving and involves a lot of different complicated components. And it's a good idea in general to have somebody that specializes, basically does nothing other than focus on this area of the law, to come in and review periodically to make sure that the best practices are being followed and that the employee policy is correct.
That's the word I'm looking for, is periodically.
Yes, sir.
So
It's a good idea no matter what, really, to have these reviewed every year or 2 years just to make sure that they're fine-tuned and tweaked.
And
The
I
law
think,
is constantly evolving in that.
And I think Bruce was asked last time about how much this cost, and we really don't know until they get done. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Moving on to number 10. Motion to approve an engagement letter with Frost Brown Todd LLC for investigation of employee complaints. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve and a second. Alderman No.
Again, a little discussion, just
Okay.
clear the air here. Is this normal procedure too, if there's a complaint filed? Is this?
So Alderman No, in our employee policy, there is a provision that allows for third-party investigators to be hired in the event that there are complaints made against certain people. This would not be the first time the city has retained outside investigators to do this. In my time with the city, off the top of my head, I can think of 2 for sure, probably 3. So it's, and I'm sure there are other cities that do it also. I can't speak to that directly, but in terms of whether it's unusual, we actually have a policy that allows for it to happen.
And we don't know, again, how much this will cost or,
Right, yes, sir, that's correct. It's gonna depend on how many complaints are filed and what the complaints contained and how long it takes to track down the facts and present the report. So all that's fluid.
And Evan, I sent you an email today. Did you get it pertaining this?
No, sir.
Bruce, did you get my email today?
I got one last night, but it wasn't specifically, I don't believe, in regards to this.
Okay. Evan, I apologize. It was last night when I sent the email. Did you receive it?
Yes, yeah, I did. I got an email from you last night. I sure did.
I didn't get a response from you.
I forwarded it on to the investigator who's been hired to handle it.
So is this investigator handling, so that answers my question. This investigator is also handling if the city of Laverne engaged in any fraud activities?
No, well, the investigator's being hired to investigate whatever complaints have been filed. If you want to discuss your email, my recommendation would be that you not in this forum, but if you want to, I mean, we can if you want to.
Well, that's not specific to this agenda item. The email that you sent that I was on as well didn't address, as far as this group, the Frost Brown Todd LLC group.
But our legal attorney just told me that he's going to investigate whether or not.
He's going to investigate.
What he's being hired to do is to investigate complaints have been made. I took your email last night as a complaint and I forwarded it on to him to handle.
And on my request, I asked you to engage with the district attorney's office.
And again, the investigator will make that determination.
So I just want to make sure I'm right. I sent you an email requesting that you get the district attorney involved to see if we, as a city, has committed fraud or we're breaking the law, and you think it's best for.
Point of order, there's nothing about fraud right here on this. What does that specifically have to do with Frost Brown and Todd LLC?
Well, because he just told me we're paying the gentleman, we're paying the guy to tell us if the city broke the law.
No, that's not at all what I said. Mr. Vice Mayor, that's not at all what I said.
All right.
What Evan was talking about is that the individual investigator investigates all of the accusations and complaints and then goes from there that have been submitted to him. Yours was taken as a complaint, so it was submitted to that investigator for him to do his process and do the investigation. Once they've done that, they then bring the report back to this board.
Okay.
so this has been brought before us to vote on. I mean, if it were to get voted no, what would happen? Would it go somewhere else?
Well, I
guess I'm looking at it, Evan, and you know, I'm not the sharpest knife in the tool. I'm just looking at it like if the city or whoever's got something to do against somebody, or one individual or two individuals, then why is it necessary that this board has to vote on it?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
It's because we're entering into a contract with a, basically an outside entity.
Okay.
That's why this board has to vote on it.
It's professional services, though. Do we have to vote?
Well, I mean, on this, I think the city administrator has the authority to designate an outside firm to do this, but I've always taken the position that the best practice is to bring it back before the board to either have you ratify execution or to execute it. I think it's better to do it that way.
So if we vote no, then Bruce can appoint an outside.
Well, I mean, I think he.
Is that what you're saying?
I think he theoretically could, but again, I think the best practice is to bring it back before the board to have you consider and vote on it. That's just my theory. I think it just works better that way for the city council to actually see it and then to vote on it.
Okay? We've got a motion and a second. Alderman No.
A motion to
Approve.
approve,
Yes.
so it's gonna cost the city money one way or the other, either through, if Bruce gets an outside source, or if we approve this, one way or the other, we're gonna spend money to get this done, so it's a coin toss, so I'll vote yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion passes.
Sorry, I just.
Number 11, Resolution 2019-01, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. Need a motion to approve or deny?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion, need a second.
Second.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Resolution passes. Number 12, motion to approve a proposal for the operation of the youth baseball and softball leagues. This received a recommendation from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee on January 2nd, 2019. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve. Need a second. Okay, Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Number 13, motion to appoint or remove board and committee members. First one we have is the Local Emergency Planning Committee. We've got one term vacant and 5 terms expired on the 31st of December. Bruce, did we ever get a fire representative?
No, we're gonna wait and do that next month.
Okay.
That's why I ain't been able to sit up here and work it. It's dead.
Is it not plugged in? It should be plugged in.
So need a motion for the 5 expired terms.
Make a motion to reappoint the 5 members that request to be reappointed.
Have a motion to reappoint. Need a second.
Second.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Moving on to Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. We've got 1 term vacant. We've got 2 terms expired on the 31st, as well as removing 1 member. So looks like we've got several applicants. Need a motion to appoint these members.
Are we going to do it in one motion?
That's up to how the motion is. You can do it all at once or individuals. We've done it both ways in the past.
Have they, have the 2 that are on showed interest in staying?
Yes, sir. We have 5 applications for the 1 vacant position. The 2 whose terms expired, they would like to remain. And then there is 1 member that Alderman No and Parks and Rec Director A.C. Davis are recommending to be removed at this time.
Make a motion to continue the membership of the Marshall Anthony and James R. Mosley, and open for discussion for the replacement of the vacancy.
I second.
Okay. So, Alderman Jones, for discussion, you want to start off?
Do we have the I do apologize. I just need to go through the applications. If there are any other board members that'd like to make recommendations prior to, I'll yield my time.
So we're making a recommendation to fill the vacant spot now?
Yes.
Is that what we're
Yes,
doing?
we're discussing it.
Discussion or make a recommendation?
Well, this board will make the determination. Alderman Jones motion to reappoint Marshall Anthony and James Mosley, and then open it up for discussion as far as the vacancy, and then the removal wasn't mentioned, so that,
So is there 2 seats?
There's,
It's just a little confusing.
Should be one seat.
there's one
there's
vacancy.
one seat open, and then I'm going to make a recommendation to remove one, but we won't be able to fulfill that seat until next.
Well, until we finish this motion.
It
So,
can be done in the same.
yeah.
Would,
Okay.
Typically, what we do is when we remove somebody, we advertise it like on our website or Channel 3, rather, and then we take applications for the following month, and then we refill the newly vacant seat at the next meeting. That's our normal policy.
For me, for at least when we're discussing the vacancy, Roger French had reached out to me. He actually brought me his application at the last workshop and has expressed interest. I know he and his wife have done multiple things with the senior center, so that would be my thought.
I'd like to reinstate my motion. I'd like to make a motion to reinstate Marshall Anthony, James R. Mosley, and fill the vacancy with Roger French.
Need a second.
A second.
Okay, Alderman No.
No.
Alderman Brown.
no.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Moving on, Stormwater Appeals and Advisory Board. We've got one term vacant and one term expired. And we've got 2 applicants. We've got Joseph Savick and Megan DeBoard. Need a motion for these 2 positions. Bruce, we've not heard back from Henry Freeman, is that right?
Correct.
Okay,
So we have 2 seats.
Yes,
essentially.
you can.
I make a motion that we appoint Joseph Schwartz Jr. and Megan DeBoard.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Planning Commission. Got 3 applicants up from last time. I will appoint Aaron Holliday to that position. Moving on to Beer Board. We have got 2 terms expired, and both applicants or both members have expressed interest in remaining on that board. So just need a motion.
Make a motion to reappoint.
Have a motion. Need a second.
Second.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Greenway Advisory Committee. 1 term expired. That's Melissa Joiners, and we've had 2 other applicants. Melissa has expressed interest in staying on that board. Need a motion to appoint one of the applicants.
I make a motion we appoint Melissa Joyner.
Need a second.
I second.
Okay. Alderman No.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Moving on to Historical Preservation. We have got 1 term expired on the 31st of December. That's Gloria Victory, and she's expressed interest in staying on this board.
I make a motion we continue with Miss Victory.
Have a motion. Need a second.
I second.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion passes for Gloria. Library Board, we've got 2 terms expired on the 31st of December. Both of those terms have expressed interest in staying on the board. Just need a motion.
I make a motion to reappoint both that like to stay on the board.
I have a motion. Need a second.
A second.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Aye.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Moving on to Parks and Recreation. We've got Kathy Tyson's term expired the 31st of December, and she does want to stay on that board. Need a motion to approve, or to reappoint, that is.
I make a motion, we reappoint Kathy Tyson.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown?
Aye.
Alderman Jones?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Moving on, first reading, ordinance 2019-03, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2018-2019 general fund budget. Bruce, do you want to speak about this?
This is in regards to the Motorola item that is the next item on the agenda. We did get the final cost in today for that project, which I'm sure Chief Walker will explain in more detail next. But the additional cost to build that tower is, if I remember correctly, around $265,000. So this is the budget amendment that would allow for that, plus some additional if other contingencies come to need, as far as, you know, we don't know what they're going to find when they get in there. So this would amend our budget to give the extra $300,000 towards this project.
Okay. Phyllis, this is coming from the basically the reserve funds?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Chief Walker, do you have anything?
I can go ahead and explain what I would say at the next one, because it's connected and tied to it, so that would be permissible, wouldn't it?
That's fine.
We received the updated information that I explained to you the other night concerning the problems we had with them going ahead and deciding that they were going to use a tower that wasn't ours at Station 3. And they came back, and what they're recommended doing now is building a 100-foot tower and secure facility behind the police department, and everything be right there on site rather than having to go off site with it with cable of some sort, depending on what we would wind up having. And Lord only knows what it might cost between here and there eventually anyway, that might not be available to us. So they came back and they recommended that we put that tower there, and we will be able to then to communicate straight from there to Cane Ridge and also back to Smyrna. And that will give us some redundancy, actually. Plus, depending on where the cars are, they should be able to hit one of the three, which will give us pretty much a little bit better coverage than we had when we did our testing. And it was a lot better than what we currently have today. They came back with the additional line items and did the statement of work update, and it's actually an additional $265,551. And Bruce and I had discussed it in light of some of the issues that we've run into in the past. For example, having the back-end electrical box that's going to handle the additional equipment, et cetera, et cetera. We're not sure. We don't want to get into that again, or anything else we might wind up with. We recommended that we bump that up front to $300,000 instead of just $265,551 added, which will give us a little bit of cushion there in the event something was to occur, and we wouldn't have to be coming back over and over again if it's there and it's legitimate. If not, we would have to come back to the board anyway if we changed what it was for. So if it's not, then it can revert over. They are changing, however. The original completion date was indicated as June 2019. When they did the revision, it was going to be May 2019. And now they're saying the new completion date will be December 2019 because it will have to drill, et cetera. But some of the things we were concerned about, like natural gas coming in, actually comes out to the northwest and comes out the northwest end of the building instead of going back out the southeast or east part of the building. So there's some things that may or may not have to be done, and that's the reason we asked for that to bump. And I would ask you if you would go ahead and please give us the approval to go ahead with the change. It's on statewide contract, everything is, so we're not having to bid out or anything else. It's simply a change order and addition, and then appropriating those additional funds in the event all of that is needed.
And Chief, in your professional opinion, this investment will take us to the next level of safety for our officers?
It takes us to the next level, yes. It's better than the level we're at now. Does it take us down the road in a year, 2 years to an ultimate level? Probably not. But as I said the other night, who knows?
That's right. And the value of $300,000 is a lot to spend of the citizens of Laverne, but I don't think, I think I'm pretty confident everyone in this room agrees there's not a dollar amount value for an officer's life.
Well, it's not just an officer or a firefighter, it's the entire community, because if we have a situation with an officer or a firefighter who's trying to help someone and a citizen dies as a result of failure in communications, I do both. I live here, I pay taxes, and I work here. Okay. And I'm very proud of both of those. I've always been proud of my community. And from both perspectives, folks, we need to do this. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Chief Walker, do you have a representative with Motorola here today?
No, no one's here today. We got this, what was it, Bruce? About 4 o'clock, I guess. We got, well, no, the final revised revision of the original revised revision. They had to do this at Mount Juliet too, because they're switching to tacking as well. And we got a thing that said the city of Mount Juliet on it, and I called Kate Stillwell, sent her an email and called her. She's on vacation, actually, and she was about to die, so she picked the phone up and called and raised some cane with her other folks at Motorola and said, fix it, get it back now, so it can be on the agenda tonight. So,
I think one of my concerns, Chief Walker, that I would like to address with a representative of Motorola is that in that meeting, I did mention to them that I was concerned about the quality of their communications capabilities. And, oh, no, it'll be fine, and then it's not now, and it's a quite expensive thing. I have more questions, more technical questions for them to try to determine, is this something that will serve us not just today, but going forward? Because
it will. And it will for several more years. It could be 5 years, it could be 10, it could be longer. In today's world, as you well know, so many things are a mixture. And it's voice over IP, to be honest with you. You're using airways, plus you're using voice over IP. Everything is controlled much easier and better now by having it automated as it is. But with FirstNet coming, with additional changes coming, other things down the road, we know we're going to have to make changes within that dark room over there where we keep dispatchers like mushrooms. They're in there in the dark. But there are a lot of changes that are coming to improve and to enhance as technology changes. As far as the voice communications for land mobile radio is concerned, we couldn't afford to do a cell phone. We couldn't afford to do an old push-to-talk as such. It's not what we need in our profession. It's okay if we're slow doing it. Now, one of the things that this does fix is that problem we had at Station 3 was something that could handle pushing out and receiving coming back in because of not having a big enough pipeline or modern-day pipeline there. Everything will be here, and we do have the pipeline coming out. I think Glenn can pretty well back me up on that part. We've got a pretty good pipeline going out.
The pipeline, you mean the communications hardware?
Yes, yes, the fiber.
I make a motion that we amend to approve the amend the fiscal year budget.
But I will get them. I'll get them to come sit down with you. I'll be glad to.
Thank you.
Have a motion to approve. Need a second.
I second.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
No.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Number 15, motion to approve change order 1, amended site development statement of work from Motorola to connect radio system to the Tennessee Advanced Communication Network, better known as TACN. Need a motion to approve or deny?
I'll make a motion we approve.
Have a motion to approve. Need a second.
Second.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Discussion.
Okay.
It's Chief, you said that this ties into item 14?
I couldn't hear you.
You said that this ties into item 14.
Yes, it does. This is what that is. All you're doing now is accepting that,
Accepting the
that
the
change.
add-on. Okay.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
No.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I vote aye. Motion passes. Number 16, Resolution 2019-02, a resolution to rescind Resolution 2017-25 entitled, "A Resolution to Authorize the Mayor to Enter into a Contract for the Purchase of Real Property for the Future Public Works Facility." Need a motion to approve or deny?
I make a motion to approve to rescind.
Have a motion. Need a second.
I second.
Alderman No.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
No.
Alderman Jones.
No.
Vice Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I vote no. Motion fails. Moving on, Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman No.
Nope. I don't think I have anything tonight, believe it or not.
Alderman Brown.
I just want to reiterate that I'm really thankful that we were able to pass the financial review this time with flying colors again. I mean, it's kind of a trend that we have now. I mean, I think that we can all be very proud of the work that has been done by the accounting team and the fact that the audit backed that up and investigated everything, and it turned out they passed with flying colors, and I just want to commend them for that. Also congratulate Chief Chris Clark. I'm really glad that he was appointed to that position. I think he's a good man for it, and I'm really thrilled to have him. Thank you.
Alderman Jones.
I'd just like to say one thing. It's as far as the past administration, I hear a lot of situations that are coming up that just seem to happen on November 6th. I don't understand why all of this land seemed to have shifted on November 6, 2018, and these people are getting these problems now. We didn't seem to get the call while the past administration was in the office. But let it be known that if there was anything that was a problem back then, it could have been taken care of then as well as it's being taken care of allegedly now. We look forward to helping the citizenry of this city. And I would like for the current board to know that I initially wanted to just make a smooth transition and allow everything to go to let the citizens know that we're working for them. I no longer will sit here and continue to listen to what the past administration did. Mayor, you were a member of that past administration. We did what we could do with the information that we received. If the current administration is receiving all of these phone calls and all of these problems that, again, happened right around November 6, 2018, I really wish that they would have called around November 5th, moving backwards, to let us know, so we could have done something about it also. But Again, I will address it. I mean, nobody, you might get tired of hearing it, but each time that I hear it, I'm going to address each time that everything is put on the past administration. I think that the past administration left this city in a very good position to be able to pass a $300,000 budget amendment with the money that we have on hand. And I continue to think that we can work very well together if we continue to move forward for the city and stop trying to blame what happened in the past as far as things go. Other than that, go Clemsons. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Church.
I'm just happy we're moving on forward. We have some open investigations going on in the city, and sometimes you have to throw rocks in the pond and make ripples to make change, and change we will make. I hope to provide, I will provide a transparent subject for the citizens of Laverne for the next 4 years. And our City Hall staff, they do a wonderful job for the ones that are doing their job. And the ones that aren't doing their job, we may have to replace them one day. That's how government works. And right now, I'm not the most popular person on the board, but the citizens of Laverne put me up here to make change and have transparent in our city, and I will do that. I'm very blessed to be here, and I will continue to work hard for you. Thanks.
Just want to remind everybody that Saturday at 10:45, we're going to have a ribbon cutting with Gowdy's Seafood, which is a new seafood restaurant here in Laverne. I want to thank Mayor Milton Portello, who he came and visited our city hall and our city from Los Adames, Guatemala. And he wanted to, he was amazed with how the city looked compared to where they're at, and met with and got some ideas for things that they could do down there. I also want to thank Commissioner Carol Cook, who this past Saturday had her annual, or her every 4 years, tour of Laverne, where she brings in county officials, state officials, local officials to tour Laverne, talk about the history, and show them, really show off our city. We had County Mayor Bill Kittren, we had Commissioner Stevens and Johnson, school board members Lisa Moore, Tammy Sharp, and Tiffany Johnson from the county level all come down. Representative Sparks was there from the state, and so it was good to see that level of involvement from them, because we're not used to seeing them here on a regular basis. Do want to also remind everybody about January 21st here in the boardroom will be the Martin Luther King Day ceremony. And then lastly, I just want to remind everybody that we're a team, and we're here as a whole to work for the betterment of the city and work for the residents. And so as a team, that's where we need to focus, is what's the best for our city and the residents here. With that, call the meeting adjourned. Thank you.